Yeah. Let's do this. All right. Make sure we're going live on Instagram as well. Should be able to do that now. All right. Back at it again for another Sunday live. Probably my favorite day of the week is to come live with you guys and just share some things that are going on in my life and share some things that are going on in business and just share some overall business strategies and moves and stuff like that. One of the things that seems to be making quite an impact on people is one of the trainings that we did on social media. Who has trouble with posting on social media? Probably a lot of people. What's up, Daniel from Dallas? Nice to see you, sir. Social media is a thing that people just can't seem to figure out. Oh, well, obviously a select few figure out, but a lot of people have trouble with it. And one thing that I learned last week that I was able to teach to a lot of our people that we've got is quite frankly what's called the character diamond. Okay. Thanks to Dan Martell for teaching me this, but I've also been able to teach it to everybody else. Is there's four real things that really can make you actually very successful in social media. Okay. And what you need to be posting on social media as often as possible. One of those things is your superpower. What is your superpower? What is it that actually separates you from everyone else? And it doesn't have to be business specific. One thing that I wanted to really stress on is that when you're posting on social media, you have to be personal, because what you're doing is building your personal brand. It's 2025, and it seems to me like nobody is actually doing one thing anymore. People are doing multiple things now. People are in multiple different businesses. I stressed up a couple of weeks ago in one of the lives that if you are doing more than one thing, like, that's okay. If you have more than one hustle, that's okay. Like, don't feel like you're spreading yourself too thin, although you might be. Yeah, it's something that you have to think about. But you really have to go in all in on building your personal brand. It's something that, it's been hitting home, I'd say over the last 6 months or so. You could see that my social media handle changed to Vince Perri Official. You can see that the YouTube channel also changed to Vince Perri Official, because quite frankly, I want to really post just about me and about my knowledge and everything that I know that I can share to help everyone else be successful. You know, my superpower, I believe, is being able to communicate. Communication is a big one. Now, another thing that we taught the elite resolutions and commercial claims advocate staff and independent contractors last week was the power of communication, communicating with your clients and your referral partners, communicating amongst the team, amongst each other in our chats and stuff like that. And then also communicating to the masses, communicating to the public. And the more that you communicate to the public, I have realized the better you actually overall get at communicating. Most of you know my story is I was a tennis coach for 15 years. And, one thing that being a coach helps you in is actually communicating and being able to communicate something that someone can understand. You being able to teach something or share a message or share something that people can actually understand and then ultimately implement it. When you're teaching kids and you're teaching, kids and you're teaching them, let's say in tennis, a new particular technique or whatever it is, you have to be able to communicate it in a way that people can understand. So communication for me is definitely a superpower. My ability to teach and help people understand complicated concepts to in a simplified form is definitely one of my superpowers. What is your superpower? What is it exactly that you have, that you possess, that you could actually share with the world? Posting on social media goes now well beyond. Thank you, Bradley. One thing that social media does now, it allows us an opportunity to really make an impact on many people, and not just, one or two people, not just the people within your team, not just the people in your friends sphere, not just the people in your family. Social media has given us an opportunity to make an impact on the masses. And it's what Gary Vee does, Alex Ramosi does. It's what, good morning, Rich. It's what everyone else. I mean, all of us are on social media. And if you follow the right people, those people are making an impact on you. What I think we don't realize is that we have an opportunity to make an impact on everyone else, on others. And all of us have a particular superpower. One of the guys in the mastermind, does a lot of volunteer work in his town. He's in like city township and stuff like that. He doesn't share that stuff on social media. And I think it's very important that you do that. It doesn't have to be only about sort of your job. It's just changed. Building your personal brand will allow you opportunities in your business and in your life that you might not have ever discovered. A perfect example is when I first started the commercial claim show. I was doing it just because I wanted more commercial claims. That's the only reason why it's called the Commercial Claims Advocate, for those of you that don't know. And the commercial claim show was just because I wanted more commercial claims. What it turned into was, okay, well, let me teach public adjusters. That switch was quick, like after the first or second show, because I felt that public adjusters would find it more interesting. Then it turned into free webinars. Then it turned into course workbooks. Then it turned into courses. And then it just turned into an overall business. And then it turned into speaking opportunities. And then it turned into leadership opportunities. And then it turned into just overall other opportunities that have come into my life and meet people that I don't think I would have ever met. Going to a networking event for insurance and public adjusting and even contracting conferences and stuff like that. What a completely different experience it turned into, because before, when I would go to a conference for claims contractors or whatever it is, it was very much regarding, when you go to a conference or a networking event, you're there to learn, you're there to network, and you're there to obviously meet new people and meet old people and meet friends. But what it turned into for me, which was just funky, was people actually coming up to me and shaking my hand and wanting to speak to me about not just being thankful for a lot of the education that I've been able to provide, but also meet people who were approaching me with opportunities that I would have never even thought about, like partnering up in this and partnering up in that. And hey, can we talk to you about this opportunity? Can we talk to you about this thing that we're doing? And all of these business ventures that, again, would have never happened if I didn't even start posting on social media, sharing my story, sharing my knowledge, sharing my education, sharing everything that I'm ultimately going through. So it's very, very important now in 2025 that you just go out on the limb and you just start really talking about all of the different experiences and all of the different things that you're into, because you are going to eventually find that niche. You're going to find that particular group of individuals that are really resonating with the things that you're posting and the things that you're talking about. And if you can do it in a way that's not so much for you, I think it's important. One of the principles that we talked about when we were talking about the social posting strategy is do it for them, not for you. Write that down. Do it for them, not for you. When you do it with someone else in mind. So initially, when I started posting the commercial claim show on YouTube, it was just so I can get more commercial claims. When I made the switch to start actually educating public adjusters on the insurance claims process, it very quickly turned into, okay, let me just do it for them. At first, I wanted to just show that I was very knowledgeable and I knew what I was doing. But when I started to go to some of these conferences, I'll never forget. The first one was 2000 and probably like 2020, because definitely around that COVID time, where it was the big contractor conference. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I had a booth and I was with my wife. It was just me and her. She was helping me out with it. And people just kept coming up to the booth like, hey man, thank you so much for the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for all the education. I'd be walking around, people would come up shaking my hand and stuff like that. And I had only been doing it for probably less than a year. And I remember my wife looks at me and she's just like, you're famous. I'm like, that's not it. But it really became when I started to actually make that content just for them. When that happened, actually, I'm going to tell you, when that happened, it was definitely an impact. I realized that I was actually making an impact. And when you realize you're actually making an impact and you can see the gratitude on people's faces, that they are just excited to meet you and excited about meeting the person that really helped them get through a certain portion in life, make a decision that maybe they weren't too sure about making, and ultimately going on a path. And your channel, your social media actually had an impact on that. It really starts to make you realize that what we have here with this social media opportunity in this time of our world is we have an opportunity to make an impact. Don't think of building your social media brand as a selfish act, or don't think of it as just something that people are finding out about your personal life and so on and so forth. As soon as you actually are sharing your story and you're talking to people, and I don't care if you're a business owner, I don't care if you're an administrator, I don't care if you're an employee, it doesn't matter. When you are able to really talk about the things that are going on in your life and the impact that those things have made, because you know that they could make an impact on someone else, when again, write it down. And when you do it for them and not for you, you start to now ultimately not only make an impact on other people, but then that's how you start building your social media brand. That's how you start to get recognized. And that's how you start to ultimately start scaling and start really expanding your level of opportunity and ultimately your level of impact. So, Natalie, what if you have multiple things you're interested in? How do you just pick one? Because I'm kind of a jack of all trades and I don't know how to hone in one over the other. Again, Natalie, this is why it's the importance of building your personal brand. I'm sure you're an extremely interesting person because you have multiple things going on. You definitely have a lot of different content and ideas and things that you're learning on a daily basis that you can share with the world that will ultimately have an impact on somebody. You have to think about the person that you're talking to. When I'm talking on social media, for the most part, I'm talking to just one person. Whatever it is that I'm talking about in particular, you're talking to one person. You're talking to somebody who could really use whatever it is that you're actually talking about. And one thing I've learned is that you want to post, and you want when you're building your personal brand, and you're wondering about what you want to post and what do you think people will find interesting, I would forget more about what people will find interesting and think about what you want to be remembered for. Think about what you want to be known for and post that. That's what you want to post. What do you want to be known for? Write that down. What is it that you want to be known for? Think about that. And that is going to be sort of your strategy. Okay. This is how you figure out what your superpower is. And then that's what you want to start posting on social media, because it's those things that, that internal sort of like internal thing that you have that you really want to, that will ultimately make an impact on others because it's already made an impact on you. Okay. The other thing is you want to post is not only your superpower, but you also want to post your kryptonite. Okay. What do I mean by that? Your kryptonite is actually a good thing. Your kryptonite are the things that you just sort of struggle with. And, last week's live, I talked about me having to deal with my mother and taking care of my mom who's got dementia. It's very, very difficult. It's been quite a struggle. But you get through it. But what I got as a result of that was a lot of responses to that, private messages from people that I knew and don't know that were telling me that they're going through the same thing. So just by talking about your kryptonite, talking about the things that you struggle with, the things that you find very, very difficult on a day-to-day basis, whether that be in business or whether that be in your personal life, also has an impact. You don't always have to be teaching something on social media for you to make an impact on others. Most of the time, it's just your personal story. It's just your personal struggles. It's pretty crazy. Another thing you want to write down is your mess is your message. Your mess is your message. And a lot of times your kryptonite, your mess, is what can make the most significant impact. Now it's up to you to make that decision to put it out there. I will tell you that it is a great form of therapy to just let your dirt out there. Obviously, if you're doing something illegal, that's probably not going to go well. But if there's some struggle or if there's a failure in your life that you are embarrassed about because maybe you got caught doing something in your past and maybe you went to prison, maybe you were, whatever it is, what's the worst thing that could have happened to you? A lot of times the worst thing that's happened to you in your life, if you get that out there, could be a release of it so that you could ultimately, there's probably somebody else that's happened to before. Chances are it's a pretty big world. And when you throw it out there, again, back to you're making an impact, but also by letting it out and getting it out there, it's this relief. It's like when you go to therapy and you speak to a therapist and you just sort of get it out there. What does a therapist do most of the time is they just ask a bunch of questions. And when you get it all out there, your subconscious thoughts, your conscious thoughts, things that you're keeping inside, and you get it out there, even on social media. Again, it's 2025, guys. It's not 1998 where you didn't know who you were talking to in a private chat room. It's just different now. It's just different when you get it out there. I'll never forget, again, when I started posting the YouTube show, the comments I would get on Instagram and social media, the comments I would get on the YouTube show, I realized that, wow, these are real people on the internet now. It's not like it was before where you were afraid if it was some kind of pedophile or some kind of person that's not a real person or whatever it is. It's real people out there, that's ultimately doing it. So the number one thing is when you're posting on social media, make sure that you post your superpower. Okay. If it's communicating, if it's teaching, if it's a particular subject that you're really good at, you're going to want to go all in on the superpower. That's for sure. That's going to be most of your content. Your kryptonite is also just really, really interesting and could actually help a lot of people. Before I get into the third thing, let's get to Natalie here. Natalie, you are Natalie Gates. All right. Yeah. So I used to be a cosmetologist, but had to have 3 spinal surgeries because I was a semi-professional gymnast. Like I could stop there. That's super interesting. So after I couldn't do hair anymore, I went back to school for my BA in alternative health. I know helping others with health is what I want to do because I also have 3 autoimmune disorders. Wow. Like that's what you need, especially if you are getting into the health industry and you can talk about your experiences and why you're in it and your story. That's just a huge impact. I just feel like I've been in a funk lately. Oh, what happened? Can't see it. Oh, I could show it here. All right, I'm going to show it. Boom. Oh, this is cool. I didn't know I can do this. I know helping others with health is what I want to do because I also, sorry, Natalie. I'm still getting used to this, I guess. Health issues. I can't pronounce that. So butterfly is a symbol and I create a website, nothing but building, but my house. Can I see it more? Can I see this more? Oh my goodness. What am I doing, guys? I'm sorry. I'm just like a mess right now. All right. Okay. Next one. And she continues here is I'll have his past. I love talking to people about my past. I never was in jail, but I've been abused a lot in life and so many others than myself. So I just want to make an impact on others. So I'm going to take a look at your social media handle, definitely, Natalie, after we're done, because obviously I'm just screwing this up here. But yeah, Natalie, that's an amazing story. That is an amazing, amazing story that can really impact a lot of people, so that's pretty cool. Autoimmune condition. You can call it Jesus. I can't pronounce those things, Natalie. You're putting me on the spot here. So that's a great example. Natalie, thank you for that. That's a great, great, great example of how you can ultimately really make an impact just based on your story and how it could just have just by posting that. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing about posting on social media. Okay, let's say that inside your MO, your motive to post on social media is to ultimately grow your business. Your motive is to get more sales. Your motive is to just ultimately expand and make more money. Okay, that's okay. But once you start getting into that personal story, you don't have to even mention that you have a business. You don't have to mention anything about what you sell. You put that in your profile. Literally, you put it in your Instagram profile, in your Facebook profile, because when people find you that interesting, they get to like, know, and trust you. They're interested in your story. You're making an impact on them because of your story. You just get personal, get into the whole weeds of it. And then when they go in, they're going to be, okay, this person is really interesting. They are going to take the time to look at your profile and sort of see what you're all about. Now, that's another important thing we can get into is making sure that you have the proper lead magnets, right? And the proper call to actions in your profile with your website, with your giveaway, that whatever you're giving away, whatever landing page that you have, your link tree to all of your contact information so people could actually get in contact with you privately. All those things are very important. But what's going to lead them into that is your actual content. Okay. It's your superpower. It's your kryptonite. Okay. The next thing is your behind the scenes, right? Making sure that you're showing just sort of what goes on in your personal, in your personal life, in your work life, behind the scenes. So like Natalie, you've got several different hustles, you've got several different things. You're not sure what to focus on, but that's okay. You can take people behind the scenes. Okay. And I suggest when you go behind the scenes is you actually turn that freaking camera around, put it on you, and really start talking about what it is that you're talking about. And people now get to know you a little bit better about sort of what's going on in your daily life and how you're able to get through all these struggles and get through your story and how you're making an impact and your whole story and so on and so forth. So, Natalie, my problem is I'm too nice and I don't charge. That's my bad. But also I'm not a huge social media person. I used to be so good after my first surgery. So I would rather hire someone, but it's hard to find dependable people to work with. Don't hire anyone. Don't hire anyone. Your social media is your thing. That is your little personal baby that will ultimately generate the most sales that you could possibly generate. You don't want to hire anyone until you actually start to learn how social media works. You get used to actually posting and you start to develop just a little bit of a following. Now, if you want to make your post look cool and stuff like that, then sure, you'll want to hire somebody to maybe help you with the editing process. Okay. Then there's the scheduling process. Okay. Well, you'll have a bunch of content and then you could put it into a scheduler. I think Meta has one. We use Agorapulse. We're switching now to Go High Level. All those has scheduling little softwares, little tools that you could ultimately schedule all your posts out for the month. And what it does also, getting sidetracked a little bit, but what that scheduling software does, it'll actually repost stuff that hasn't been posted in a while that may have gotten some good engagement, and it will repost it for you to just keep your feed moving along. Now, you want to understand how that works, like I do, right? But you don't have to be the one that's actually doing it. But at the end of the day, you guys go on my Facebook, go on my Instagram, and go on my YouTube. It's all me. I'm still having to shoot the content. I'm still having to create the content. And then we have someone that's able to edit it. And we also have someone that's able to, sort of put the descriptions and ultimately schedule those things out. I need to do more research. I also make mediation videos. I know 2K isn't a lot of followers, but that's also something I'm into. Yeah. Just again, when you guys are posting on social media, one thing that you want to do if you have a business or you have several businesses, make sure, guys, it's the reason why I'm at Vince Perri Official. Okay. That's all me. That's my personal brand. I'm talking about all kinds of stuff. Okay. Look, Natalie, what I'm into right now is I'm a public adjuster. I'm a business broker. I'm also a marketing person with my commercial claims advocate, where we help other companies with marketing. And then I'm also looking to acquire a business. So there's a lot of things going on there. But at the end of the day, my personal brand is my personal brand. What I do and what I know is, quite frankly, I know business, I know systems, I know operations, I know marketing. Okay. And I try to just talk about a lot of that, which ultimately leads into public adjusting. It leads into business brokering. It leads into mergers and acquisitions. So make sure that you guys are just building your personal brand. And then I also take people behind the scenes. Yes, absolutely, Natalie, send me a message. My thing is helping people one-on-one and helping people in a group setting to really help them figure out whatever it is that they need to figure out. Okay. Whether that's a mindset thing, whether that's a leadership thing, whether that's a social media marketing, or just overall systems and operations to get you out of the business. We do all kinds of trainings all the time that just help people like understand what the heck's going on here. But build your personal brand. Build your personal brand. It's so, so important because I mean, honestly, what's funny is what the most engagement that I get in my social media is my son, Max. By far, I get the most comments. I get the most views. I get the most direct messages whenever I post about Max. And it has nothing to do with anything about my business. People are more interested in who the person is behind. So what I was getting to, Natalie, again, if you want to market your business, you can create separate handles for that. And for that, you can hire somebody to take the content that you're putting on your personal brand to ultimately post there. They can create some images. They're called graphic images. They're called graphic videos, where they can just take a bunch of B-roll and they can post it. Like, that's okay too. You could have, like, I have Elite Resolutions. We have an Elite Resolutions account that's much more generic. We have a commercial claims advocate account that's much more generic. We're going to have the business brokering. That's a big one where I'm pushing right now. I don't have it yet, but there's going to be a separate account for that, where it's just going to be about that. And it'll be on the Instagram profile. It'll be on the YouTube description. It'll be on the Facebook profile. so that you can go check that out. But that's not the stuff that really people care about. That's just, hey, let me get the information about what that company's about and services that they provide, frequently asked questions that you want to answer on that stuff. That's all great, but it all starts from your personal brand. So Natalie, I encourage you to just create an @NatalieGates. If it's taken, do it @Natalie&Gates or Natalie A. Gates. Okay. Vince Perri was taken. So I noticed a lot of people put official behind it. So I've got official. Put it so that it's your personal brand. It's your own thing. You post whatever it is that you want about, whatever it's on your mind. I will tell you, it's pretty fun for you to just go ahead and just post whatever you want and talk about whatever the hell you want. And then ultimately, when people find you interesting, when you're ultimately making an impact on others, they're going to want to work with you. Like, that's just what happens. They're going to want to work for you. So when I do a one-on-one with somebody, the first thing that we do is I want to know, what are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you want to accomplish in the next 10 to 50 freaking years? And then we take it backwards from there. And what I end up finding out is I find out that I only know like the tip of the, especially if it's people that I've been working with for a while. When I do this 1 hour exercise, I learn about people, and it's just like, boom, as an entrepreneur, as a visionary, I just start getting all these crazy ideas. I'm going to give you the perfect example. Rich, I'm going to throw you out there. Rich, he's probably watching right now. He's in our mastermind, and I found out that he's in town council and he's very involved in volunteering for his community, and he knows the mayor, and he knows all these other, and firefighters, and he knows all these other people. And I'm like, why aren't you posting about that? When people know you and trust you and are impacted by some of the content that you have and the moves that you're making, it ultimately finds you you're more interesting, and they like and they know and they trust you, and they're going to ultimately read up a little bit about you. So make sure that that profile is optimized, and they're going to want to ultimately work with you one way or the other. Let's not forget that what you desire in yourself, you desire in others. All right. So whatever it is that you desire, you also want to, it's, if it's something that you truly desire, if you desire it in others as well, it really just, it makes a huge difference in your content. And there's nothing more rewarding than when I go to an event and I get public adjusters look at me dead in the eyes. Like, they're like looking through me and they're just saying, thank you. And there's just nothing more impactful than helping other people. There's nothing more impactful. What up, Stand Up Roofing? Nothing more impactful than making a difference in somebody's life, even if it's just a little thing. And then they come up to you and they thank you, or they send you a DM and they thank you. Like, it just, I know using the terms like DM and posting and stuff like that, it's all social media, but it's just the world we live in, guys, and we have to accept it. Like I said, helping others make it, yes, 100%. So the next thing is, so you got to make sure that you're showing your superpower. Okay. What is it that you're just really good at? Okay. I personally like to teach. I like to make an impact, and I'm good at communicating. So I'm going to do whatever I can. If I learn something new, I read a lot. I'm reading right now. It's just so good. I'm reading right now, Poor Charlie's Almanac, about Charlie Munger, the partner of Warren Buffett. And, so I'm learning that. I'm learning about investing, his strategies, decision-making, stuff like that. And as I learn things, I'm going to ultimately share it with others, because that's just what I'm good at. I'm good at understanding principles and techniques and frameworks, implementing into my business and implementing them into my life. And then all I want to do is share it. And I'm good at communicating and sharing it with others. So that's just basically what my content is pretty much all about. So obviously, show your superpower. The next thing is, do not be afraid to show your kryptonite. All right. Whatever your mess is, your message. Write that down. Your mess is your message. So don't be afraid to also just talk about the shitty things that are happening. I mean, guys, look, man, come on. I had to show that. Like, Beyond the Clam. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? You got to show the mistakes and the crappy things that happen as well. The third thing is behind the scenes. Okay. Make sure that you turn the camera around, show people what's going on. Like today, we're going to take our kid blueberry picking. I'm going to show content about that, and people are going to find it very interesting. They're going to enjoy it. It's a way to just get away. And then the last thing is, make sure that you really talk about your mission. What is your mission? What is it that you want to accomplish? What do you want to be remembered by? What do you want to be known for? That's the big one. If you're unsure about what you want to do, you're unsure about what you want to post, you need to know what's your why, but also who's your who. Exactly, Rich. Make sure that people understand what your mission is. One of my missions is to never have to answer the question again, what is a public adjuster? You know, by me posting content, by me letting people know what public adjusters are, and right now also with our mastermind members and trying to make an impact on them and forcing them to post on social media as well, it all goes towards my mission of never having to answer the question again, what is a public adjuster? Because I want people to know what a public adjuster is until the end of time. It's just too many times. I've been doing this for 16 years and I'm still having to answer the question when I tell them that I'm a public adjuster and they're like, "What's that?" It's pretty crazy. It is what it is. It's honestly never changed. So that's one of my missions. And another one of my missions this year that I keep telling people about constantly, my word for the year is impactful. And that's the reason for these lives. So my mission for the year, and I talk about it on social media all the time, is to be impactful. Every single time that I speak to somebody, every single time that I have a speech, every single time that I'm on social media, every single time I do my content Wednesday, every course that I create, every mastermind that I do, I have one word in the front of my mind, in the front of my conscience every single time, and it's impactful. Am I making an impact with this teaching session? Am I making an impact with this social media post? Am I making an impact with this YouTube video? Everything to me right now in 2025 is about impact. Am I making an impact right now? And I ask myself throughout the day, am I being impactful? When we did a whole thing on our mastermind group, which by the way, our mastermind group is definitely branching out into more entrepreneurs. I feel that we are going to get a non-public adjuster in our mastermind pretty soon. I just feel it. Natalie might be the first person. Natalie, you're going to want to DM me. You're going to want to get a piece of this mastermind. I'm telling you, it is impactful. Okay. We do one section. We do one day where it has nothing to do with public adjusting. And then we have another day where it's all about claims. But I am telling you right now, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are in business, if you are just looking to make a change in your life, okay? And I can help you guys not only with business, I can also help you with fitness. And you can take a look at I will be glad to teach you everything that I've learned over the last 7 months in basically losing 25 pounds, getting down to 10% body fat, and ultimately being in the best shape of my life. So there's also that. Everything, my mission is to be impactful. Okay. Question from Sean. Have you thought about moving your operation to Texas, Colorado, California, since the Florida insurance market is dead? So we are licensed in Texas, we are licensed in Colorado, and we are licensed in California, not Oklahoma. I will tell you, Sean, that it's and Sean Kling, nice to see you, my friend. I will tell you, Sean, if you are going to move any of your operation to any other state, just make sure that you have boots on the ground. I have learned through my failures that you cannot, in public adjusting, you cannot work another state virtually. So you cannot rely on an inspector. You cannot rely on a contractor. You cannot rely on a roofer to ultimately be your eyes and ears or the boots on the ground. It's probably where I think insurance companies really screw up, is because the person making the coverage decision is not the person that's actually there. So I've tried the virtual thing. I've tried to hire inspectors, and I will tell you, Sean, it doesn't work. You're going to want to be licensed as a firm in any state that you want to go into, and you're going to want to have, even if that person is virtual, that's fine, but you're going to have a licensed public adjuster living in that state and working for you. It is the only way to do it. I would suggest giving them a very high percentage. The 50-50 thing ain't going to work when you have that. You're going to want to probably give them more, or you're going to want to give them salary plus commission if you are going to do that. So just make sure, if you're going to go to another state, I highly recommend that you actually have an employee or an independent contractor with a lot of great incentives to ultimately not go somewhere else. So that's my advice, Sean. If you're going to go to another state, boots on the ground. Natalie used to work for Beachbody too. I love it. Natalie's definitely a jack of all trades. And that's super interesting, Natalie. Your story about your autoimmune disease and all of that stuff is very interesting, but also the fact that you do several different things is very interesting as well. I will tell you, I can relate in regards to doing separate things. So what are the 4 things? All right, just guys, if you get anything out of this, okay, when you are posting on social media, your social media strategy, it's going to be, make sure that you are posting about your superpower. Make sure that you're also posting about your kryptonite. Make sure that you are posting behind the scenes and make sure people understand what your mission is. You want to post all of these things. So if you are unsure what to post, you could literally think about, okay, I'm going to post my superpower now. Boom, post it. Okay, I'm going to post about something really shitty that just happened. Boom, post it. Okay, you know what? I'm going to post about something behind the scenes. Boom, post it. I'm going to share my mission with people. Boom, post it. There it is, guys. That's the framework. You could literally come out with 4 videos every single day now, every single day about one of each. Or, I mean, I suggest you post more. You can post 1 a day. So now you've got 7 days of the week, and you've got 1 day where you can post about your mission. 1 day you can share your superpower. Another day you can share your kryptonite. Another day you can share your behind the scenes. Now you've got 1 post every single day. You can go 2 a day, whatever it is that you want. That's your social media strategy. Okay. It's not hard. Your superpower, you're going to probably want to relate that to reels. Okay. And really just good videos. Okay. That you could have somebody edit to make it look really cool. Your kryptonite's going to be sort of like your posts and stuff like that, or your lives. All right. Your behind the scenes are usually going to be your stories. Okay. But you could create a cool post with your behind the scenes as well. And then the last thing is going to be your mission. You're going to want to really share your mission like I do with these lives. Okay. But you could also do it for posts, and you could also do it for reels. I think it's very important, though, that you just stick with the fact that if you could break it down into these 4 things, you're always going to have something to post. The main reason I haven't been on social media a lot is because I feel like a lot of it is fake. But you're so right. We should be real. I have a friend of mine, Natalie. Same thing. Okay. I have a group chat with all my best friends. We've been friends since like 9th grade. And obviously, they like to poke jokes, and they like to make fun of me. And what is it? One guy, my one good friend, calls me a used car salesman all the time. And then the other guy just hates social media, hates everything about it, and thinks everyone on social media is a bunch of fakes. But what I respond to with that is, you can get so much information now. If you follow the right people, you're not just following a bunch of supermodels and big butts and, or ripped bodies or whatever it is. Like, if you're actually following things that you feel can be very educational for you and actually help you in your life. With all my social media freaking feed is just motivation and self-development, self-help, business strategies, marketing, sales. That's all my social. Like, I get so much from my social media feed where it educates me more a lot of times than even a book could actually help me. Like, it's pretty crazy. But also understand that before there was social media, there was books. Before there was social media, there was books that would come out that you would read, and you could basically learn. Like, we learn so much. Guys, if I could recommend a book, it's Gary Vee's Crushing It. Gary Vee's Crushing It. It will really tell you the importance of social media. If you guys do not hop on this train, okay, of social media and building the personal brand, like I say with AI, you will get left behind. You will ultimately be left behind. And that's the last thing that you want. What up, Chris? You have to go out there and you have to share everything. There is nothing to hide. At the end of the day, Google knows where you are, what you're doing at all hours of the day. So what are we hiding from? The Chinese and TikTok and socialism and whatever? Like, guys, come on. Let's go. 2,000 Questions About Me is an awesome book. Thank you, Natalie, for recommending that. Will, right, you can tailor your social media to you. Absolutely. Your social media can be a great source of content for you to actually learn and to grow. Podcast as well is another good one. Podcast is a great way that you could really learn a lot. How do you make money on social media? How do we make money on social media? See, that's where you can now relate your personal brand to your actual company brand. Okay. With your company brand, a lot of the content that you're going to want to put on there, you're going to want to show the work that your company does. So, Natalie, we're going to keep throwing you as an example. You have several different companies or several different things that you're interested in. Maybe one of those is a company. You're going to have a company profile. You're going to have a company social media. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do 2 things. You're going to want to show your work that goes on with the actual work that you're doing. And you're going to also want to share client wins. Okay. Client wins, client testimonials, client, hey, look at client transformations, stuff like that. If you share those 2 things, I'm telling you, even on your company brand, it's going to go a long way. People are going to find that very interesting. Guys, it is 2025. People's attention span is very, very short. I hate to admit that my son already at 3 years old looks at an iPad and will watch YouTube, and he watches everything for like seriously like 10 to 20 seconds, and he scrolls and he picks the next thing, and he scrolls and he picks the next thing. He does it all himself. 3 freaking years old. I am completely 100% to blame for that. But the attention span is only probably going to get worse. Okay. So, people, long descriptions about what you do and stuff like that, even websites are good to have, but there has to be something at the top that you're giving people a value immediately, because people will scroll through your website for probably like 2 or 3 seconds, and then they're moving on to the next thing. There is even a stat in Instagram. If you go behind the scenes to your Instagram numbers and your results, there is a stat for how long people stay, how often people stay on for longer than 3 seconds, because that is the time that it takes for someone to look at something and then move on to the next thing. I mean, it's the whole TikTok generation thing started with that, right? So in your company social media handle, make sure that you show the work, okay? Also with your personal, by the way, and also share client wins, okay? Now, if you want people to help you, first thing I did with Natalie, when you posted something, what did I tell you? Send me a DM. Send me a DM. That's my call to action. You guys have to do the same thing, okay? If you want to know more information, DM me. If you want to know more information, DM me autoimmune, okay? And I can tell you how I can help. Natalie, I'm telling you right now, you DM me. I want you to send me a DM, okay? I want us to sit down for an hour, and I'm going to tell you how you can start a private group coaching program where you could basically be making $1 million within the next 3 years. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. It is not hard, and it will not take up too much of your time, and you will be making an impact on other people's lives, which will make your life that much more rewarding and self-fulfilling, and you could ultimately now put money on your table and your family and everyone else. It's just the day and age that we're in. It's very doable. It's very possible, and you can do it. I could almost guarantee you will be making 6 figures within a year and $1 million in 3. That's where we're at. And all through social media. Guys, post your personal brand, man. Let's go. Natalie, you are one of the most interesting people that I've had on this live, so I want to thank you for commenting. So make sure 4 things, guys: your superpower, your kryptonite, behind the scenes, and your mission. If you want to monetize it, you got to show your work, share your client wins, and you also have to hand raise. We call it hand raising, making sure that you say DM me at the end. Okay? It's very, very important that you show that you know how to do something. Okay? Show that you know how to do these things. Remember this, guys. When you write this down, you do it for them, not for you. Do it for them, not for you. Do it for them, not for you. Write it down. Do it for them, not for you. That's why you post on social media. I think I do this live for me, but I realize that what I'm sharing with people in this live every single Sunday is ultimately also helping out and helping others as well. Last week, sharing my story about my mom was like a big thing for me that I had never thought that I would do. And after I did it, it felt good. It felt like a release. And it also ultimately, with the messages that I received, the result made an impact on other people. If you're unsure about what to post because you're doing so many different things, remember to post what you want to be known for. Post what you want to be remembered for. Another way of putting it, post the things you want to be doing more of. Write this down. Post the things you want to be doing more of. That's a manifestation thing. What is it that you want to be getting into? If you're unsure about the direction that you want to go into, you're unsure sort of about where you are in your life, you're unsure about what is it that you want to do because I'm doing too many things, just truly think about it and post the things you want to be doing more of. Okay? So for me, I've been a public adjuster for 16 years. I've been posting about public adjusting for a very long time. What I want to be doing more of now is business brokering. What I want to be doing more of is making an impact on people. But as far as my business is concerned, I want to be doing more on business brokering. You're going to start seeing more I'm going to start talking about deals. I'm going to start talking about amortization. I'm going to start talking about profit and loss statements. I'm going to start talking about how you value a company. I'm going to start talking about how you ultimately can sell your company. I'm going to start talking about the avenues you need to go to if you actually want to purchase a company and how you can get an SBA loan. These are things that I'm learning now more of, that I'm getting into more of. And as I educate more on all of these things, I'm going to be posting more of that because I want to be doing more of that. I also want to be helping entrepreneurs make sure that they understand how to really not learn how to hate their business. That's another one. The messages that I'm getting, or the messages that I DM with people a lot. And, I tell them that they need to come on the mastermind because they're going to learn so much. Because, what I'm telling you right now, we're not even deep diving into it. Like, literally, I will show you. There's a whole model. What I'm sharing with you guys now is a model that we put together for our mastermind group about posting. And I've gotten a lot of good reaction from my mastermind group members in regards to that. And, we deep dive into all that stuff. But what really, really surprises me is the amount of people that don't have the time. They're so stuck in their business. They're so involved in everything they're doing that they don't even have the time for themselves. They don't have the time to read a book. They don't have the time to educate themselves. They don't have the time for the mentoring. They don't have the time for a 1-hour call with me. They don't have the time. Where do I find the 1-hour call? I've got 3 active businesses right now, and it might be 5 by the end of the year. 5 businesses. And I've got 2 businesses that literally I'm just days away from investing in. So that's like 7 businesses, which is nothing, because I'm fairly certain that Alex Hormozi has like 100. Elon Musk has like 100 plus businesses. How do they do it? I have the time. How do I do it? But if you're so involved in your business and you're so involved in the fucking daily grind that you don't have the time for yourself to meet with someone like me or to come as my guest in the mastermind group to learn something groundbreaking, you got a problem. You got a problem. You have to make sure that you figure out what your priorities are. Because if you don't have the time for that, you might not even have the time for your family. If you don't have the time for your family and your home life isn't good, and that's not good either. Let's go. Everyone now in 2025 has the potential. I think everyone, even if you're working in a full-time job, you should have a side hustle of what it is that you're passionate about and start a business. It's just be an entrepreneur, because you can, even if you're only making, $50,000, $60,000 a year in your entrepreneurial journey, that's $50,000 more that you were working. And you can do that with a full-time job. It's very, very doable. And now with AI and automation, guys, they are saying that in the next couple of years, there's going to be a $1 billion company of 1 employee. Like that, there's a chance of that happening. If you're not automating everything or learning about it, I have a meeting on Monday with Mo. He was, you're going to want to talk to Mo. He's going to help me with automations so that we could just ultimately be more efficient. I digress. What do we got here? Comments. I actually heard a quote the other day of someone telling their family you can either be a giver or a taker, and they never meld because you give a lot or you take a lot. I would rather be a giver. All of us. Not only as human beings, I think most of us are givers. I do think there's takers out there because, sometimes you need to take. I mean, you got to show your worth, and you're worth something. And a lot of times what I've noticed is people don't value things that aren't actually of value or that don't show the dollar amount. So the reason why we charge a pretty decent price for the mastermind is because if I did it for free, which I would love to do it for free, trust me, I would be totally okay with doing it for free. But what happens if I charge $1,000 for an hour? I can tell you right now. But I guarantee you're going to walk away not just with $10,000 of value, but here's what I wanted to get to. I don't know why I said that, which is fine. I don't care. But if I don't charge for something, then you don't put value on it and you don't show up. You don't show up to the mastermind. You don't show up. Like our mastermind community and our group calls every Monday and Wednesday are packed. most of the members are in there every single week, even though it's recorded, even though you could watch it later, or you could watch it later at a more of a hyper speed so you can get through it quicker. Most of the people are there. Why? Because they're investing money in themselves to be there. If it was for free, people would not show up. If it was for free, people would not actually deem it as valuable. So that's the reason why if you want to sit down with me for an hour, you have to pay, because then I know you're going to show up. I know you're going to have your notebook out. I know you're going to be taking notes, and I know you're actually going to apply everything that I'm telling you, as opposed to where if I did it for free, if it was for free for you to sit down with me for an hour, we're just going to be talking. You're going to be listening to what I'm saying, and you may or you may not do it. But by you investing in yourself and knowing, holy shit, I just paid $1,000 to sit down with this person, then what happens is you're going to be like, okay, I need to make sure I actually do the work. And then what happens is that $1,000 turns into a $10,000 investment. No, $10,000 return on investment. So, show your worth. It's very, very important to show your worth. Yep. Sometimes since I've been through a lot of medical shit, I just feel stuck. But you legit made me want to do this again. Natalie, get off your ass and do it and share your story, because you of all people that went through the shit, that went through the mud and got dragged through all of this. Like, I have friends who have these autoimmune disorders, and Natalie, I get it. Like, I've never been through it, but they just can't get out of bed. They can't move. There's no motivation. They're depressed, and it's tough. And if you can drag your ass through the mud and get out of that, that's your fucking story. That is your superhero story. And that is going to have an impact on so many people. For you to get up and actually get out there, get after it, and do it, that is, I might want to have you on my show. Yeah, I've paid for a lot of courses, energy healing with Donna Heaton. Nice. I work with a 12-second Reiki class. I totally agree with what you're saying. Thank you for being a part of this live, Natalie. I really do appreciate that. I want you to know how grateful I am. And because of that, again, I want you to DM me, and I want you to sit down with me for an hour. And I don't want to charge you anything. Will you actually make it of value, though? Seriously, Natalie, I want you to message me. I think this is pretty cool. I want you to sit down with me. I want to thank you for coming on. And then the last thing is, remember, guys, your mess is your message. Your mess is your message. Don't be afraid to show your mess. Okay? That's it. That's what I've got. Yeah. Guys, seriously, I want to thank you guys for all coming on. We had very, very good engagement today. Will, Natalie, thank you. Obviously, Will, thank you so much. You said right there, that's the difference between working on your business and in your business. That's right. Very true. Will, thank you for coming on. Rich, as always, thank you for watching. Really appreciate that. Who else did we have on here? We had Sean. Thank you for your question. Stand Up Roofing. Thank you as well. Zamora. Thank you. Daniel. Thank you. I'm going to leave you guys with just a couple of things. Social media, right? 4 things. What is it? Show your superpower, show your kryptonite, show your behind the scenes, and show your mission. Okay. If you really want to start making money, make sure that on your company page, you're showing your work and your client wins. Okay. At the end of every post, you should have a DM me for some particular thing. Okay. Make sure you do that. Also remember to do it for them, not for you. Do it for them, not for you. The next thing is your mess is your message. And then the last thing I'm going to leave you with is one thing that we require all of our mastermind members to do on a daily basis. It's called a non-negotiable. And that non-negotiable is post 3 times a day. Post 3 times a day. Starting today, I just gave you the blueprint. I gave you the strategy. Post 3 times a day. Stories are the easiest way to do it through social media and Facebook. Is literally just taking the camera, turning it around, and start talking. Okay? And post. Share your message. Share everything that you've got. Don't be afraid to get it out there, and you will impact somebody, and you will ultimately make a huge difference. So, all right, Natalie, send me a DM right now. Do not forget. Guys, thank you for coming on. Mr. Perry, turning notifications on so I don't join late next week. Will, thank you so much, my friend. And all right, guys, we will see you. Remember, so real quick, Monday, tomorrow, podcast with Zulfia, all about automation, all about systems, processes, and how to automate them and how to automate them through AI. You're not going to want to miss 6 p.m., the Beyond the Claim podcast. 6 p.m. Eastern on the YouTube show. Wednesday, we are going all in on leadership. I'm going this month on the show is going to be all about leadership and mindset. You're going to want to watch that show as well. And then next Sunday, we'll see you here again at 10 a.m. So yes, DM me on Facebook here. It's totally fine. And then next Sunday, we'll be back at 10 a.m. for the live show where we get down and dirty and can talk amongst each other. And that's it. I hope I was able to make an impact on you guys today. That is my clear mission. And where I'm going to now, I'm going to pick blueberries with my wife and my son. Very excited about that. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. And as I always say at the end, relax. It's Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't get bogged down by work. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your loved ones. Rest and relax because Monday is the most important day of the week. I want you guys to be good and ready. Don't eat too much today. Don't drink too much today. Today's the day of breaking, relaxation, rest, family time so that you can be ready for a killer Monday and a killer week. It's the best way to start your week. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. See you later. End.